It is Thursday, June 25th, 2015. Welcome, everyone, to episode 42 of the OG Cast, your clan podcast for the original Guardians. My name is Mike. You can find me on Xbox Live. I'm mikerocksmore. Lots to get to this week, but as always, let's kick things off with the panel. And let's say hi to Franz. How you doing this week, Franz?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain.
That's good.
Next up, we have got Keith. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, lots of things happening in the gaming world right now, right after E3, and of course all the stuff with Destiny. So it's a good time to buy some popcorn and enjoy the show. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
That's probably the best way to put it. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit here. But first, making his triumphant return after months now. How you doing, Sinyc?
Pretty good. Good to be back, guys.
Back from
Excellent.
the dead.
Something like that.
Keep it busy, of course.
Yes. Lots of work and finally coming up for air out of ESO, so I am back now.
Excellent. Well, seeing as you mentioned ESO, let's talk about that briefly, because I know you've been in there a lot, Cindy, and of course Keith, you have been as well. So we kind of made the official announcement that we're kind of, I guess, officially supporting ESO now as well. So, like, what are you guys' thoughts on the game? You like it? Think it needs some improvement still, or is it,
It's definitely a major improvement from when I played it on PC. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was pretty god awful from what I heard. So
yeah, it was pretty bad.
What's changed?
Well, it seems like because when I played it on PC, basically everyone seemed like they were in their own static world, like interacting with NPCs that weren't standing there anymore because they had moved off in their own phase, and everything was segmented. All the players were doing their quests and stuff, and if somebody was right next to you and they're on the same step of the quest that you were on, you basically had to both do it. Like it didn't seem like you were part of the same world, and they fixed a lot of that. So if just this complete stranger is on the same quest where they have to destroy some base or something like that, if you're standing there and they destroy it, then you get the credit too. So it feels like it's more of a real environment.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't touch the PC version, but seeing it with fresh eyes, I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's not Skyrim Online, so that's if you buy it expecting it to be that, then you'll be disappointed. But it's a really good MMO, and probably the best MMO on consoles right now. Well, I mean, I guess I've never played the Final Fantasy on PlayStation 4, so I can't speak with that experience, but definitely better than, like, say, Neverwinter.
Oh, absolutely. Neverwinter was very shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it got pretty bad feedback when it first came out on PC, so glad to see it turned around.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. We're building up a lot of people on the PvP side and building some good relationships out there as well. The dungeon running is going pretty well too. Everybody's kind of still rebuilding and retooling characters, trying to figure out what they like and how they like their builds, but we're having a lot of fun with it on the guild side.
Why don't you speak a little bit about dungeons? What are they? Like,
Nothing crazy. Most of the ones I've run at the lower levels I've been managed to eke out have been just 4-mans. Nothing too crazy. Random drops off of the bosses. Good rewards off of the quest givers for each dungeon. Honestly, I've spent a lot more time on the PvP end running around. It's large-scale warfare, which is something I'm a big fan of, so I've kind of not leveled up by doing that a lot. You don't get a lot of XP running around and doing sieges and ambushing people and things like that, so I hit a wall and I had to go back to the PvE side of things the last couple days.
For anyone that's not experienced with the MMOs, the dungeons are like Destiny's strikes. So it's an instance where you enter with a group of people together and you play through it from start to end.
Gotcha. Is there a raid mechanic to it, or in the game, I should say?
I don't know if there's large-scale raiding. I know there are world bosses that appear. Um, I don't know if there's raiding at the end game. Do you know that, Sin?
No, I know they have the what they call the trials, or the veteran level versions of the dungeons.
Right.
But I think those are up to 12 people, if I'm not
Oh, okay.
mistaken. Well, a couple of them are at least. But
Okay.
again, those are much higher level end, and I didn't play the PC version, so I'm kind of
Yeah, they're really
guessing at it.
there really aren't that many people that are up there at that point unless they converted their characters and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's a slow grind.
Yes,
It's like playing an RPG.
yeah, it's a very bottom-heavy game right now, and as it ages, it will shift to be top-heavy.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how it should be, though, right?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty typical for MMOs. It's nothing like Destiny where you're at the level cap within, the first 10 hours or whatever. So it's a lot of time where that it takes to hit that level cap and gear up and stuff.
So real grind instead of artificial grind.
Yeah, and I mean it's entertaining. I mean it's not like you're doing mindless stuff over and over again to gain levels. I mean you're doing the quests, and there are some pretty entertaining quest lines out there. I'd say compared to Skyrim, it probably has that level of story in the side quests, which is much better than your typical MMO with their side quests, where it's, kill 10 wolves and then send this package over here. You know what I mean? So it's better than your typical MMO quest, but it is very much quest heavy to level up.
Cool.
And thankfully, it is not pay to win.
What?
It is not pay to win, unlike Neverwinter or anything like that.
Oh.
So fortunately, it's a lot of actual earning what you get and running from there. I was scared they were going to bring that pay to win element in like they did with Neverwinter.
Yeah, well, I mean, Neverwinter's a different beast because it requires. So in Neverwinter, they have to actively encourage people to be paying customers, but with Elder Scrolls, everyone's a paying customer.
True.
So they rely a lot less on their microtransactions, and you see that in the game. I mean, if you played Neverwinter, you were constantly getting messages on your screen like, "Hey, somebody opened this awesome chest and got this crazy thing," and that was and it was super obnoxious, but it was basically their way of trying to get people jealous and buy the keys for the chest so they can open up and maybe they'll get some super rare item. Very lame. And with Elder Scrolls, that really doesn't exist. Like you wouldn't even know that there's microtransactions in the game unless you specifically hunted for it, because it's in one part of the menu. It's not in your face at all. So it's done really well.
That's good.
Now, is there specific classes, like a typical MMO, a healer, tank, DPS?
Specific roles, kind of, yes. Most of those are the traditional roles, but the character building system is very open and flexible. So you could be a tank and still pull things from some kind of healing line, even if your class itself doesn't permit that. You could be a healer and still pull a ton of DPS out. Anybody can pick up a bow and level up the bow line and have efficient bow skills. So it's more like Skyrim and the other Elder Scrolls games in that way.
So it's not like WoW, where if you're playing as a warrior, you're going to be the tank.
Yes and no, only because you would actually take a warrior and build it specifically tanky with the way the gear and the different skill trees run, as opposed to just you just have a lot of freedom, to be honest with you. Even the assassin can be a healer in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing that you see, like the Templar, it's one of the classes where it's traditionally meant for healing, but you could easily spec that out to be a tank class.
And DPS.
Yeah, and DPS. So I mean, it is very custom. I mean, it's kind of weird that they even have you select a class. I mean, I think that they're kind of I don't think it was necessary to do that, but you can mix and match, and you're not pigeonholed into a specific role just because of the class you select.
Yeah. Is there a re-level system where you pay some gold or whatever?
No, well,
Respec?
to respec your skills, but not to respec like what you've gained experience in. So if you've played the entire game with a sword and shield and heavy armor, you gain experience in those lines, and you gain like new abilities and efficiencies with those weapons and armor. And then if you wanted to say, oh, I want to play a DPS class and wear light armor, you'll throw on light armor, but you don't have that efficiency like you gain. You have to re-grind that for those things that you haven't been using.
Oh, so it's really based on the type of gear you wear and the weapons you use that determines your role.
Yeah, and where you put your skill points. So I mean, if you do want to just completely switch, yeah, you would want to respec so you get all those skill points back and can reallocate them. But you still have to earn your right to use those skill points in those trees.
Gotcha. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with it so far.
Yeah, I've been using a healer mainly on the front lines in the PvP, and obviously running around by myself. And then I built a scout just to run around and feed information. The war is so vast and spread out that it requires all kinds of communication and not being a dick skills between different guilds and different large groups of people. So when you have 100 people, only 24 grouped together in a chat at a time, and you're all plowing through a wall into a castle to raid it, it gets a little nutty.
Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of the open world PvP stuff. It's definitely something that is best done with a group that you're working with. Otherwise, it's just
Chaos.
It's chaos, and it's zerging. I mean, I played Guild Wars 2 for a long time, and the setup is very, very similar. And the meta, but from what I've seen, seems to be pretty much the same. I mean, it's just get as many people on the map as you can in one big ball and steamroll a castle and then steamroll that castle. So it's I haven't been too eager to jump into that part of it because I feel like I've done that before and it wore thin on me pretty quickly. So I've been holding off on that until I leveled up some more.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun.
What was that?
I said it's a lot of fun.
Oh, right. Well, that's good. That's the important thing, right? If it's not fun, then why do it? But then again, I guess I want to talk. Destiny frustrates the hell out of me. Play that, so I guess we're all suckers for things one way or another. So
good transition.
Yeah. Well, one last thing for ESO. Justin, aka Nebulous Ninja, is going to be our main guy for ESO. He's going to be on next week. So we'll dive a little bit more into that then. I was going to talk about Hunt the Truth because we missed that last week with E3 because that wrapped up. But I think we'll maybe hold off on that till next week as well because I know Howard's probably going to be wanting to talk to that. So everyone's homework for next week is to get caught up on Hunt the Truth so we can have a full in-depth discussion.
So it's going to be is it going to be a spoiler cast for that?
Maybe, yeah. It'll be done like 2-3 weeks by that point. So if you haven't caught up, now's your chance. You will not be disappointed. So we'll talk about that next week.
How many episodes are there?
13, I think, in total.
They're a half hour each?
Oh, not even. Not even. Some of them are only like 5 minutes.
I don't think any of them are 5 minutes.
Well, some of them seem pretty quick, but yeah, I think on average 10-15 minutes maybe. The longest one's got to be about 20, I think. But
okay.
But yeah, so it's easy to burn through in a couple hours. So
I did it. I downloaded a podcast app because there's an RSS feed for it. If you can just pop into your podcast app, and I just listened to them in my car on the way home.
Oh, are they on iTunes by any chance?
Yeah, they're on iTunes as well. I don't have a link, but I think they are on iTunes.
I believe they are too.
E-
But
even
yeah,
if even if they're not, like you can still import an RSS feed into iTunes.
Yes, yes.
and they're easy to listen to from the website too if you're sitting at a computer too. So yeah. So everyone, I guess Hunt the Truth spoiler next week. Stay tuned.
And it's a really good series, so I mean, don't write it off because I mean it sounds a little ridiculous, but it's really good. It's
Oh, yeah,
done really well.
It was amazing. I know I ragged on it in the beginning, but yeah, turned out to be just amazing, and yeah, it's definitely worth your time. So everyone, yeah, let's go listen, and yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Link in the notes.
Yes, there is actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just if you just search "Hunt the Truth" is the first thing that pops up too on Google. It's just a Tumblr site. And with this, then there's links to the SoundCloud for each individual episode as well, so it's all right there. But yeah, link is in the show notes. All right, let's talk about the shitstorm that is Destiny, because things got interesting, as Keith mentioned earlier here, and it was quite the ride over the last few days.
And it keeps going. It's a ride that keeps on giving. That's for sure.
This is very true. I think things are starting to settle down now. But we definitely have not heard the end of this. So let's recap here quickly. We mentioned last week Taken King is coming September 15th, and that is the next big expansion. Right off the bat, some people had some concerns about the pricing structure. Basically, all of us who already own Destiny and the Dark Below and House of Wolves, we have to pay $40 to get the Taken King, and honestly, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a fairly fair thing.
So before you go on to the bonuses, I want to say I think that one of the biggest problems with the pricing structure internationally is over in Europe. It's also £40, which is substantially more than $40, but in some cases you would expect that, but when you compare it to other games don't cost $80 or £80 over in the UK. So you can go on Amazon and find the new Batman game for £40. Like the DLC is the price of a full new game. So it's an absurd price in that market, and that's definitely where a lot of the initial rage was stemming from, and I think it's very well deserved. You can't just change the currency symbol on a price and expect that to be okay.
Well, as a finance guy right now, the euro's really low. It's $43.
But that's irrelevant because
I know, because people don't understand that, but
no, that's not even the case, because the price of a game is the same thing. Like you would if that would be relevant if also the price of new games fluctuated and became more expensive. You know what I mean? Like if a new game costs £60 and then the Taken King was £40, then you would have that argument. That would still be a lot more expensive than it is in the US, but comparatively to other products on the market, it's competitively priced, versus the way it currently is, the DLC is the exact same price as a full game.
Basically, what I heard, the conversion works out to around $63 American for the $40 or £40 Taken King. The interesting thing too is that for the Legendary Edition, which is including everything, Vanilla Destiny, 2 expansions, and Taken King, that's $60 for us, but it's £55 in the UK, and then the Collector's Edition is $80 here and £80 there as well. So it's not even just that they're just transferring dollars to pounds either, like, because they still got that weird one in the middle there. It's just it's really strange, and I don't understand what they were thinking with that, because it's just the pricing just doesn't make sense in that market. And I'm not in the UK, so it's not impacting me, but I know that it's a huge market, and so it's there are a lot of people impacted by it. Oh, for sure. So that was the first thing that kind of threw people off. And then earlier this week, Eurogamer posted an interview that they did with Luke Smith. And of course, we know him as the he's the creative director for the Taken King. We've known him in the past. He's the one who put up the NeoGAF post about not repeating the mistakes of the Dark Below for the House of Wolves. All in all, a guy who is pretty, I think, fairly well respected in the community. For putting up that post, and he's kind of been always kind of a no nonsense sort of guy. So he was interviewed, and basically, let's jump back here. The collector's edition, with all of its little pre-order bonuses and all that, comes with the full game. There is no option to get the collector's edition items without rebuying everything. So that includes, like the full game, which obviously those of us, who already have it don't need. And there's been no option to get rid of, or there's no option to go around that. So again, community's not happy about that. And along the way, Luke decided to kind of put his foot in his mouth a couple times, and basically he made things worse.
That's an understatement.
Yes. So.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the journalist was very pushy, and I'm sure that is very. Because that doesn't happen in game journalism or even journalism in general these days. So I'm sure it caught him by surprise. But yeah, I mean, his reaction was a little. It was, of course, uncalled for. But the journalist, I think, did a pretty good job. I mean, I think that's what journalism should be about. But
I agree.
But it was a little, he was pushy.
Yeah.
He was pushing. And he did say afterwards that the way that Luke came off was not how he was acting, let's say. He's sort of a no-nonsense guy, and, kind of sarcastic and all that. So, but there's obviously two ways to interpret sarcasm and such as well, so...
I mean, I don't defend the pricing structure. I think it's ludicrous and just absolutely there's no call for it. But I will defend Luke Smith in that he's a game developer. He has no say in pricing. I mean, I don't even know if Bungie's doing the pricing or if that's Activision making the calls. But
we'll get to that in a second.
To him, he must be so frustrated that he goes into an interview thinking he's going to be talking about the game he built, the new level designs, the new multiplayer modes, and here he is just getting bombarded with pricing questions. He snapped and he lost it, and shame on him for doing that, but I mean, at the same time, I can't blame the guy for getting pissed off about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the developer and publisher relationship is really unique because the publishers are the man behind the curtain, and when people hear Destiny, they do not think Activision at all. The general public doesn't understand that when it comes to who's making the pricing calls and the marketing agreements and stuff like that. So yeah, the pricing structure was absolutely Activision, and I think that is on them. But Bungie, I mean, it is a relationship that they have with the publisher. So even if they don't agree with it, like Luke Smith could have fought it behind closed doors and been vehemently against the entire thing, but in the public that can't come out. Like he has to pretend to support it even if he doesn't. I'm not saying that he does, but he has to stand behind the decisions that were made by Activision, regardless of if he agrees with them or not.
Exactly. I mean, you can't go up and say your boss is, tell the public that your boss is flat out wrong. You got to keep that stuff in house. And if you can argue to your boss till you're blue in the face, but you can't bring that to the public.
Yeah. So we don't really know what happens behind closed doors, but it's something to keep in mind that unfortunately gets completely lost in the general gaming community. But just throwing that out there, I think it is important to understand that dynamic.
No, it is, sure, and that's definitely the pitfall of this whole situation, because Activision is definitely the man behind the curtain, and yes, they are the people ultimately reaping a lot of the reward for Destiny, like financially probably. They invested a lot of money in Bungie to get this game built, but I'm sure their ROI is pretty damn good.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think Bungie's hurting from it either. So,
Well,
it's a partnership that goes both ways. But I think the pricing decisions and the people we should be yelling at are Activision. If you want to blame Bungie, blame them for getting in bed with Activision in the first place.
Yeah.
But I think beyond that, you can't blame.
Activision is notorious for these kind of things. They've been doing it with Call of Duty for a long time in terms of their silliness with their marketing campaigns and their exclusive DLCs. Like it is very known that Activision is like that, and I do think that it was a bad decision for Bungie to get involved with that. But who knows what kind of sweet deal they got along the way. I mean, maybe Destiny wouldn't even have happened if they didn't sign with them. Maybe nobody else would. But I think that that partnership is definitely toxic.
Well, I think Activision in general is pretty toxic.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I think that's it. It's the deal with the devil, to name drop. But yeah, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing of it. Like, I know I mentioned it, a couple of months ago now, or a few months ago now. There was an indie developer I was following. They were making a game called Human Element. They were called Robotoki, and in the end, their funding ran out. They couldn't get someone to fund the game, and the studio collapsed. And that's the life of indie developers. And for better or for worse, Bungie is an independent developer. They're their own entity, and for as big as they are and for as successful as they have been, going it alone is not always easy.
Well, they were never an independent developer. Before Activision, it was Microsoft.
Well, true, but there was that period in between.
But they don't self-publish, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, like Rockstar, for example, they self-publish. They don't need a publisher. So I mean, it's yeah. I get
Bethesda too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, look at the guys from Infinity Ward who went off and made Titanfall, and how bare bones that game was because they didn't have the backing from a big name publisher.
They were backed by EA. EA published Titanfall.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, then my point's moot.
Sorry to.
Well, the argument could be made that Titanfall is still pretty bare bones.
I thought they were small. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
No, EA.
Well, they're still a small studio especially compared to Bungie. But, and in the end, I think their deal with EA is quite similar to the ones that Bungie has with Activision. It's fairly hands off, but.
Well, I mean, I don't know who owns the IP rights for Destiny, because I mean, a lot of times publishers own those rights. I know with Titanfall, EA does not own it. That was one thing that they made very clear, was that it was not going to be owned by EA. So
I'm sure Bungie owns.
I would say Bungie owns it. I mean, that would be shocking if they let Activision walk away with that IP.
Yeah, like Infinity Ward, for example, they are an Activision studio, whereas Bungie is still Bungie, but they have partnered with Activision to publish Destiny.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is sort of unfortunate the amount of power that Activision does seem to wield in terms of this. And I want to quote something from the update yesterday. We're actively working to make the digital content from the collector's edition available in a $20 upgrade bundle, so on and so forth. Keyword there being actively working. So in the end, this seems that Bungie is saying this, but they still don't have the official okay from Activision to make this claim.
Well, I think they're talking about it from a technical standpoint. They're not going to promise something like that if it hasn't been cleared.
Well, what are they trying to get for $20? So you got to pay $60 to get the shaders or emblems or whatever.
So it's one shader per class, one class item per class, and one emote per class.
Yep.
And that's $20?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not worth it in my opinion. I think $20 is a little ridiculous, but it is what it is. That's what they, that's what you pay for with collector's edition stuff. So
The thing that really
people
kicks
will
me
pay for it though.
is that the digital collector's edition is the same price as the physical collector's edition, but the physical edition comes with a lot more stuff. Like
Yeah.
you get a strange coin, you get Kate's notebook or something like that. You get a whole bunch of different stuff, maps and books and all that kind of junk for $80. And if you want to just digital, you just get these, these emblems and shaders and shit. So it's the disparity between these products is just staggering, and it's the same price. And this is kind of I've had a problem with this whole digital thing for a long time. Digital should be cheaper than physical. There is no physical, tangible thing. What is being shipped? What is, there's no markup really needed. Why are we paying the same thing? I can go to Best Buy, pick up a game for $60, or I can buy it on my Xbox for $60. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I think that's something that really does need to change.
Well, yeah, the reason for that is when you buy a disc, you can give a disc to a friend and then they could play the game for free. Once things go all digital, you'll see prices of games drop because then they know that everybody playing the game paid for it. It's like Steam. That's why Steam games are cheap, is because they know that you actually have to pay some money to play this game instead of, borrowing it from your friend for a month.
Well, Steam is cheap because they're also you can buy the game digitally through other means. I mean, Steam is obviously the most popular content distributor out there, but you can get it other ways. Versus on the console, if you want to buy it digitally, you have to go through the Xbox store, the PlayStation store. So you're limited. So they don't have competition for the digital space. So I think that I'm hoping that it will get better, and other companies will be able to offer digital promo codes and digital sales and things like that, and we've seen it. There are some cases, but it's not really. I don't know how legit they are, but hopefully we will get to the lower prices, because that would be nice. I mean, I think that $60 for a digital game, which is the same as retail. It's more expensive than retail because you can get it on sale very easily on places pretty much as soon as it releases. It's a little disheartening, but hopefully we'll get there.
You would think that they would really start to push that, because obviously both PlayStation and Xbox want people to buy digital. That's why both of them are releasing consoles with terabyte drives now. Like, both of those are official.
Yeah.
They want people buying digital.
Well, that doesn't really say anything versus digital or physical, because both of them have to take up hard drive space. Okay,
true, but they've established these stores. They want people to use them.
Yeah.
So if they want people to incentivize people to use them, drop the price. It's a simple thing. That's why the Xbox started selling so well, because they dropped the price.
Yeah, but that's because supply was outweighing the demand for it, so they lowered the price to get more people, to raise the demand. The problem is, if consumers are going to spend $60 regardless, they're never going to drop the price. The only way we can get that to happen is to speak with our wallets and not buy the games. That's the only way that's going to happen. It doesn't matter digital or physical. It's just, if you're going to buy it, that's like with these DLCs. Each one keeps pushing the envelope on price and price, seeing when consumers will stop paying for them. But if consumers keep buying them, then they're not going to stop raising the price.
Does it drastically change the margins for the companies and the production houses for these games if they lower the price and sell them as digital?
Well, that's like the math they got to do, right? If they lower the price by $3, do they make that up and then some by getting more people to buy it because it's cheaper?
And then there's the end of now you're not paying for mass production, which the more you make, the cheaper it gets, and you're paying for constant maintenance and upkeep of servers and things like that to be able to distribute the content.
Yeah, you lose your economies of scale if you lose too much manufacturing demand.
And then all that money is definitely being absorbed by the company, which means that less margins going towards the production end, the production house, and the artistic end of it all, so to speak. I would have to assume it's not coming out of corporate's pocket. It's not designed that way.
There are a lot of people with pocket protectors and Excel sheets that are making these calls. So I mean, none of us really have that insider information that to have a truly educated opinion on why or.
Well, I've had this discussion about this similar discussion, but in the comic book industry, how being able to get a digital copy through an app for $1 or $2 is completely destroying the brick and mortar system of it all.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just kind of me dipping in and translating it over. It's very different for there because obviously they're not doing the same millions and millions of dollar profit per release like you would with a video game, but very, very similar situation where now less money is going in, even though the production isn't that expensive at a mass scale. It's still less money trickling down to the artists and the people actually sitting there sweating over the paper.
Yeah.
That's a good point, to be sure. And with music, too.
Yeah, very, very true.
Wait, where did we go? This conversation has spiraled. I don't know how we got here. Wait, we were talking about Taken King, right?
Yes, yeah.
The digital version of that.
We applied it to the entire industry. It's okay.
Yeah. Broad strokes here, guys. Broad strokes. All right. So, anyways, after the whole Luke Smith thing, we were promised some change, and of course, that change is the $20 for the digital content, those emotes and shaders and such. Again, that's pretty ridiculous for what we're getting, considering that you're getting basically what you paid for the Dark Below or House of Wolves for that price.
Yeah, and I'd like to point something out. Elder Scrolls has 140-ish emotes, and none of them are locked behind a paywall. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, it's a messed up system to be sure, and I'm pretty sure we have Activision to thank for that, because let's talk about the other thing that dropped this week too, was the Red Bull.
Yes, that was classic. I mean, that was surprising timing. Like, I don't know. It's like, wow, Destiny's in the media a lot. Maybe this is the perfect opportunity to announce this promotion. Did they click on the articles? I don't know. That was fantastic timing, and I have no idea how anybody thought that was a good idea.
Well, I don't know, but somebody thought it was. So basically, what's going on is that they're pulling the Call of Duty approach. You buy Doritos or Mountain Dew, for example, you get XP codes that you could apply to in game, so you can level up faster, rank up faster. So basically, that is coming to Destiny now too with Red Bull. Basically, each can is going to contain XP boost. And does each can contain the quest too?
I don't know. Isn't there like a verification can meme out there?
I don't know, but Dying Light put out an excellent picture.
Oh yes, I saw that tweet. That was priceless.
Yeah, basically, pimping water because they can. But so like it's basically. There's going to be a code, at least on specially marked cans or certain packs. I'm not too sure. That's going to allow you to a specific Red Bull only quest for the Taken King.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then it eventually does get released to the general public. Like January or something?
Yeah, January, February, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's ridiculous.
Timed release with Red Bull.
Yeah, like Red Bull is getting exclusive content. It's no longer PS4, a console getting exclusives. It's an energy drink. Which, if you look at like their press release, it's really funny. Like they're talking about Destiny and esports, and like who calls Destiny an esport? It's not a competitive game. Like
Oh,
there's no
not at all.
esports. There's no esports in Destiny. So
I don't know.
Synergy.
what?
It's the new synergy. Just throw it around on everything.
Yeah.
Make it sound fancy.
It's a buzzword, I guess.
I just don't understand it. They are milking, and for all intents and purposes, Destiny got a mediocre score, and yet somehow they're milking all this money. Mediocre reviews, and yet they're still. I don't know. I don't understand how they're doing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it got like very average 6s and 7s and a couple 8s in there. But in terms of sales, it's just dominated. They've made well over 500 million in sales.
It's a big game. Like IGN has devoted a podcast to it.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous in its size, really. And maybe that's just because it's Bungie. But in the end, I think the people who do like this game like it a lot. And I think that can be said for us as well. Like we are still playing the game. Keith, you're not really playing it as much anymore, but I'm still playing it. Franz is still playing it.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of people still playing it.
Yeah,
And
I totally get that. But don't you think it is running the risk of losing that mind share within the general gaming community and losing player base? I mean, because you look at the Destiny subreddit, it's not pretty.
No, and usually the Destiny subreddit's like the place to go for positive, just talking about the game and constructive criticism. It is ugly right now.
Yeah.
Well, right now, of course, it's ugly because of what's gone down in the last week. But at the same time, the community is very fickle at times. It's sometimes it rallies for good causes, and the rest of sometimes it just gets toxic. Like probably the most toxic community out there sometimes. It's really kind of strange at times the way that it can go from this one extreme to the other like that.
Yeah. I mean, look how everybody was excited for House of Wolves before it came out, and everybody was praising Bungie to what it is now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's tiring.
can't get too comfortable in your position. Which
Yeah. Like yesterday, I
a lot
was
of it.
yesterday I was damn near ready to give up on Destiny. I honestly was. And then they released that update, and now I want those damn shaders, from the collector's edition. It just
Wait. you want those shaders for $20?
the purple
Oh,
one
Mike.
looks nice on the hunter.
No, Mike, you're part of the problem. You're gonna buy it, and then they're gonna continue to do it. Speak with your wallet, man.
I know.
We need an intervention.
Buy Metal Gear Solid 5 and don't get the shaders or something. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
But at the same time,
please.
I'm playing this game a lot, and I do enjoy it, and it's got its damn hooks in me, and it's I'm not alone in that regard. There's a lot of people who feel the same way. So it's tough, and I know I'm part of the problem if I buy that damn edition for $20.
Don't do it,
It's-
Mike. Swear. Don't do it.
It's tempting, but yeah, I probably
Please
won't.
don't.
But yeah, but
For the
still,
good
it's-
for the good of the community, please don't do that. Because then they'll continue to do this. Because people will buy it.
They have
Well,
to
I mean,
miss their
it's-
margin to stop.
Exactly.
I mean, it's people are gonna do what they find has that $20 value. So if people think that is worth it, then they're gonna pay for it. Not really much you can do about it, no matter how many posts there are on the internet.
Oh, but that just lowers the value of $20 in digital media. Soon we're gonna get like a shader for $20.
Yeah, I mean,
For $60, you can have one for each class.
I mean, really, what they should have done is just $5 per. Like you unlock, you should be able to buy one for whatever class. Like, because myself, I really only play a warlock, so $5 to get the 3 class things for the Warlock. That I think that would be much better received to do something like that.
Wow, you're more generous. I would have said if you bought all the expansions up until this point and you buy Taken King, you should get those shaders for free. For newcomers, you can buy the standard game, or you can pay the collector's edition and get the shaders.
Well, they are doing something for the veterans. They're giving the free, what is it? It's a black shader and the black sparrow or something.
It's got a tiger. It's got a tiger print to it. It's white and black or something, mostly black. But and you get the emblem, the unbroken emblem, and you get the shader with the same paint job as well.
Yeah, so they are doing something like that.
They have. But I will say too that they are saying there is more to come for that for the veteran players as well. They have said that on many occasions that there is more coming in addition to those things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't think it would be unreasonable to say $5 per class thing that you wanted to unlock.
I think that would be more reasonable. I would agree with that. But not our call, ultimately. So all we can do is bitch and moan about it. And
it is, but it has to be a very, very big hour for it to actually be our call. Everybody has to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody needs to not buy it. Mike, I'm looking at you.
You've shamed me. You've shamed me.
Eventually, it'll drop to $5. Then you buy it.
Yes.
We must teach them. We must train them.
Yeah. Well, I guess one more thing, to quickly touch on. With all of this that's happened the last week, okay, we've all kind of agreement that the $20 for the shaders is a bad move, but
I don't think you've agreed on that.
No, I think you're gonna buy it.
We'll see.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have jumped in. Go ahead.
But anyways, what are your thoughts on the Taken King at this point? Buy, a pass, wait and see? I know, Keith, you kind of said that you were kind of maybe done with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the wait and see approach. There are a lot of good games coming out this year, and I have plenty to stay busy with.
Yeah, I'll buy it, but I don't know if I'm gonna play it after Halo, to be honest.
Yeah, that's where I am now, because I know that once Halo comes out, then I'm really not going to be interested in playing it at all. So, buying it for a month's worth of time, and if you look at the recent announcement they've made with Games with Gold, I don't know if you had that on the docket to talk about that.
No, we'll quickly mention it, yeah. We're getting 2 free games for Xbox One now.
Yeah, 2 free games per Xbox One for Games with Gold. 2, so it's new. So previously, there have been 2 games, but one was recycled from the last month, or in terms of Pool Nation, the last 2 months. But going forward, they're going to be new games, and next month one of the games is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is pretty huge. I mean, I think that's the first AAA that they've released with it, Games with Gold. So I'm going to have plenty to keep myself busy throughout the summer with that, especially, and maybe even through September, depending on what games are coming out at the time for Games with Gold and
backwards compatibility too.
Yeah,
there's games you missed.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
Well, I'm kicking myself for not turning on my 360 and downloading Gears of War Judgment when that was for Games with Gold, because once that's backwards compatible.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be
awesome. Coming next month too. So.
Yeah, and Phil Spencer did say that all first-party games are eventually going to be backwards compatible.
Yep. Yeah, I did hear him say that. So, that's going forward. Any Games with Gold stuff that for 360, you can hop on to the Xbox Store online and just purchase it for free, and that will be added to your library in case it becomes backwards compatible.
Do you have to do that on the 360, or can you now do that?
You do it online. Yeah.
Oh, you can do it online.
Yeah, you can do it online.
So I could just put away my 360 now. Awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, not all games are going to be backwards compatible, but
At least not at the beginning, but
yeah.
well, it's an interesting time to be sure. And I know me personally, Franz mentioned Metal Gear, and I really want to play Metal Gear, but it's out on the 1st. Taking Kings on the 15th. And Metal Gear is not going to be the kind of game that you can just kind of dive in and out of, I think. So.
And Metal Gear's adding, well, I mean, they typically have campaigns that you can blow through, but they're adding DLC to the single-player campaign, which is really weird to me. So it's a full $60 game, but you can buy like unlocks and stuff with microtransactions.
Not a fan of that, but
yeah,
but it's more of an open world Metal Gear than previous titles. Like the old ones have been, A to B, B to C, and so on. Where this is a lot more.
That still doesn't justify microtransactions in a single-player campaign. Like if it's if it's an online thing where you're constantly running servers, then you have this constant upkeep that you have to worry about. But if it's just like a campaign, that doesn't make sense. It'd be like Skyrim with microtransactions or Fallout. There's just no justification for it. So it's really strange to me that they would do that. And there's already been some backlash within the community, and as more details come out about it, I imagine it's gonna flare up again.
Yeah, it's a great time to be a gamer, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an expensive time to be a gamer.
It is.
Yes.
But one thing to look forward to is Fallout. There are no microtransactions with that. Well, you can rest assured that once you spend that $60, you've got the game without anything trying to nickel and dime you. So, not all games are going that way.
I don't know if there's another one that's not.
Halo?
Yeah. Well, Halo, there are microtransactions for kind of like the battle packs in EA.
Is that confirmed that they're actually going to be?
Yeah. They said that you'll earn them in game, but you can also buy them. Kind of like Plants vs Zombies, those sticker packs. It's kind of that deal. So
they're giving you 12 maps for free. That's the big deal.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They have justification for it. They're giving you, it's 15 maps, so they're giving you 15 DLC maps for free, and that's how they're paying for it, is with the microtransactions. So, I can see the business case in that scenario, because they have to make their money somehow. They can't just do continuous development forever and expect the initial sales to cover that.
Yep. But that's a multiplayer game that they have to keep servers up.
True.
Unlike Metal Gear Solid, which once it's on the disc, it's done.
Even the campaign, like when you play co-op campaign, even that is on dedicated servers. Like there's no peer-to-peer within Halo 5, so they are running a crap ton of servers for that game.
Yeah, I think they learned that from.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think microtransactions are justified in that kind of game. Same thing with Battlefield. Like all those servers are run by them. Like it's not peer-to-peer networking, so they needed microtransactions. So it's the same deal.
Yep. It's either that or subscription fees.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sunny times. Well,
we had such a good. we had such a good podcast last week, and all talking about all the fun stuff that's coming. We had to go the other route with this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to build you up just to kick you down. That's the OG cast way.
That's why I miss you guys so much.
You're trying to write one to come back.
Well, I think that'll do it for Debbie Downer Hour.
Join us next week.
Yeah, from here, guys. All downhill. Yeah, I just. All right. Well, like I said earlier, next week we'll talk some Halo. Get pumped for that again. So hopefully we'll be back on a high note next week, and hopefully Destiny gets their shit together too. So, and yeah, Justin will be joining us next week too. So another good reason to tune in. You guys got anything you'd like to throw in before we wrap up?
No, not really.
Not
Just
me,
glad to be back. Miss you guys.
Yeah. Welcome back, man. Welcome back.
No,
Always
for the Destiny players out there, we are running Trials of Osiris on Destiny Clan Wars. So, and that's always interesting, that I run a fan site for a game that I'm rapidly losing interest in. So, I kind of backed myself into a corner here, but
Oh, hindsight, eh?
still supporting it. That we're not going to be closing down our servers. So, Trials of Osiris is running. If that's your thing, starting tomorrow.
A lot of people still playing Trials for that? You're looking at the data, obviously, still, so... Yeah,
I mean, we only ran one Trials event when it first came out, and it not as much as we were expecting. I was expecting a lot more participation and excitement about it, but I think the requirement to be in a fire team really results in less people caring about it. But maybe it's that has grown since we ran the last event. So maybe we'll see a spike. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you pretty much do need to be at least 33 to have any sort of success in it, and there's a lot of 34s in there. So you definitely want to be as high as you can be for that. And definitely a lot more people will be 34 now. So
it's no Iron Banner, that's for sure. I mean, Iron Banner just is so much more activity that we see. So it's nothing has stacked up to that, and I'm sure Bungie sees that too. I'm sure that they're looking at that and say, "Holy crap, Iron Banner was still a lot more popular than any of the Trials stuff." So I imagine they're trying to capture that magic in a bottle and try to reproduce it somehow.
For sure. All right. Well, links are in the show notes. What we talked about here tonight, as I mentioned earlier, Hunt the Truth is in there, so everyone get caught up for next week, and we'll break it down a little bit next week. What else we got in there? Got the Warzone video doc in there still as well, so check that out because that's definitely a good watch as well. Got the Eurogamer article in there if you want to get mad again about what Luke Smith said. And also another good article that came upon about what the problem with Destiny is, or I guess the underlying thing, because I think a lot of people got mad at this because it's kind of an ongoing thing, and this article kind of talks about it as well. And I touched on an article that I wrote myself this week as well. So I've got a link to that in the show notes as well if you would like to check that out. Other than that, usual links are on their website, originalguardians.com. If you want to find us on Facebook, just search Original Guardians. Twitter is @OGuardians, and Google Plus is your thing. Just search Plus Original Guardians. We will be back next Thursday night at 10:30 Eastern in the PM, obviously. Yeah, and we'll be back then. So thanks everybody for listening or watching. And yeah, we'll be back next week.
All right, see ya.
Have a good week, guys.
Have a cheerful rest of your evening, hopefully.
Yeah, the bad time's over now. Thanks everybody for watching.